If Bitcoin disappeared tomorrow, the world of finance would feel the shock immediately. Billions of dollars would vanish from global portfolios. But the impact wouldn't just be financial. It would also be emotional, political, and even philosophical. At first, the markets would panic. Investors, both large and small, would scramble to understand what just happened. Was it a hack? A government shutdown? A flaw in the code? The uncertainty would spread like wildfire and fear would follow. Exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, and Kraken would likely suspend trading. Crypto influencers and analysts would flood social media, speculating and arguing. News headlines would dominate with variations of Bitcoin dead, crypto collapse, and what's next for digital finance. The price of other cryptocurrencies would likely plummet. Ethereum, Solana, and others would see red across the board. Why? Because Bitcoin isn't just another coin, it's the cornerstone. It represents trust, history, and the original vision of decentralized finance. Without it, many investors would lose confidence in the entire ecosystem. Institutions that recently adopted Bitcoin, like banks, hedge funds, or even governments, would face internal crises. Shareholders would demand answers. Financial statements would take a hit. Public trust in crypto as a legitimate investment class might evaporate overnight. But what exactly does disappear mean? If we're talking about Bitcoin vanishing completely, no blockchain, no access to funds, no record of transactions, it would be catastrophic. Millions of people store wealth in Bitcoin. Losing it would mean instant poverty for some and financial ruin for others. Imagine waking up and your bank account just doesn't exist. That's the scale we're talking about. But what if Bitcoin simply stopped being used? If people abandoned it in favor of newer technologies or currencies, that would be less dramatic, but still deeply disruptive. Projects that rely on Bitcoin's network, like payment apps, custodians, and some Layer 2 solutions, would need to pivot or shut down. On a deeper level, the disappearance of Bitcoin would also test the true resilience of the crypto world. Would other projects rise to take its place? Could Ethereum or another chain become the new king? Maybe. But Bitcoin's brand, its mythology, its name, those are hard to replace. It was the first, and it stands for more than just code. Bitcoin disappearing would also shift global power balances. In countries like El Salvador, which adopted Bitcoin as legal tender, the fallout would be severe. Local businesses and citizens who embraced Bitcoin might feel betrayed. Trust in government initiatives would decline, possibly even leading to political instability. And for authoritarian regimes, Bitcoin's disappearance might be a celebration. Many governments fear its decentralized nature, its resistance to censorship and surveillance. Without it, they could feel more in control, more powerful. On the other hand, people living under oppressive regimes would lose one of the few tools they have to preserve value and escape financial tyranny. From a technical standpoint, the disappearance of Bitcoin would spark investigations. Was the network attacked? Did someone find a critical bug? Or did the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, somehow take it down? The mystery would fuel endless conspiracy theories. Some would claim it was the CIA. Others might blame rival crypto networks or international banks. Financial historians would call it the biggest failure or sabotage in digital currency history. But others would call it a necessary reset, a wake-up call, an opportunity to build something better. Meanwhile, the average person, someone who maybe never bought crypto, might wonder, why does this even matter? To them, it's just digital money disappearing. But what they wouldn't see is the underlying infrastructure, blockchain technology, decentralized systems, the entire philosophy of peer-to-peer finance. Bitcoin helped shape all of that. Its disappearance would slow innovation temporarily, but not forever. Developers would keep building. New projects would rise from the ashes. Some would try to recreate Bitcoin. Others would try something entirely new. And what about Bitcoin holders? People who had thousands or even millions in BTC? Their reactions would vary. Some would be furious. Some would be devastated, but others would say, that's the risk we took. After all, crypto has always been a high-risk game. Legal battles would explode. Lawsuits against exchanges, developers, influencers, even governments would flood the courts. People would demand compensation, even though many of them signed up knowing the risks. And yet, not everything would be lost. The lessons from Bitcoin's disappearance would shape the future of finance. Engineers would build more secure networks. Lawmakers would draft better regulations. And communities would focus on resilience over hype. Because in the end, Bitcoin was never just a digital coin. It was a movement, a rebellion, a message to the world that finance doesn't have to belong to the powerful few, that money can be trustless, borderless, and open to anyone with an internet connection. If Bitcoin disappeared tomorrow, that message wouldn't die, it would echo louder than ever before. People would remember what it stood for. They'd tell stories about how it challenged banks, how it helped people in crisis zones, how it created millionaires and memes, scams and revolutions. And eventually, someone would build the next big thing. Because that's what innovation does. It adapts, it evolves, and sometimes it rises from the ashes of the things we thought would last forever. So, if Bitcoin disappears tomorrow, the crypto world might shake, but it won't fall. It will rebuild. It always does.